Welcome back to the Centre Half Bench podcast. It's the tightest ever first week of finals. There's been some great games and some ripping individual performances, but anyway, let's rip into it. Now, big story, Sasha. The biggest one possibly is the Saints star Ben Long getting suspended for a week. He's going to tribunal tonight, I think it is, either tonight or tomorrow night, to try to challenge it. But if so, that's a big, big loss.
Yeah. And another big loss with the Saints is the Paddy Ryder situation. Sadly, doing his hamstring and out for the year, the St Kilda Footy Club have confirmed. Such a sad ending to such a historical season for the Saints and for him as well. Paddy Ryder played 270 games, never winning a final, and his first final, he goes and does his hammy in the last, I think it was like minute and a bit, yeah, which is such a sad thing to happen. It just shows you how cruel AFL footy is.
Yep, and I mentioned it in the intro. It's the first AFL or VFL finals week 1 where each game is under 3 goals final margin. And on top of that, it's the first final since the 2006 grand final to be decided by 1 point. That was a Collingwood West Coast game. So it's been a really ripping close week of football. Swanee taking the piss out of it on Twitter saying this year doesn't count and the final series is irrelevant, but it's been some pretty good games. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're going to start off with the first game of the week. It was first versus fourth, Port Adelaide versus the Cats in a top 4 battle, and Port Adelaide completely showed their class. But on the other hand, it was just the Cats just had a massive catastrophe, kicking 5 goals 12, and Hawkins kicking 0 goals 5, with 6 set shots and 1 out in the full and 5 points. From your big key forward and Coleman medalist winner, that is just terrible. Stuff like that should not be happening, especially during finals time where those 5 points are literally, he could have won them the game on his own boot, but instead it went the other way and he lost it.
In the qualifying final last year against Collingwood, he kicked 0 goals 4. So obviously a bit iffy in finals. And an ex-Cat who's not iffy in finals, Motlop, 3 goals straight against his old club, earning his spot in the team after he was in doubt coming into the game. And yeah, he's really solidified that spot. However, Selwood, he went down with a bad finger injury. It was a bad dislocation, and he had surgery on that. He's racing against the clock to get right by the Collingwood game, and he looks like he will be right. But yeah, obviously it's a feel. It's not going to do any more damage, but it'll be the feel of his finger after surgery and then trying to handle the ball.
And him obviously missing the last game against Collingwood with doing a hammy early into the first quarter and then losing to the Pies. It's definitely, he feels that he has to get back to possibly make a difference, especially this being finals time and this being one of the biggest times of the year where it's literally make or break for both these clubs.
Yeah, and with that win, Power booked their spot into the prelim for the first time since 2014 when they lost against the Hawks by 3 points. And the Cats, they've booked a date with our Pies Saturday night for a blockbuster game and to avoid going out into straight sets for them.
Yeah, you just got to wonder if they are going out in straight sets. 2018, the Hawks did it. Last year, the Lions did it. There always seems to be one team that in the top 4 that just underperforms and they just tend to go out in straight sets. Will this trend continue, and will the Cats drop off? We'll have to wait and see, but it'll definitely be interesting to watch.
Yep, and what was very interesting to watch was this Lions versus Tigers game. Obviously, footy back at the Gabba, finals footy at the Gabba, except this time the Lions are winning, and the crowd really got around the Lions, and they ended up beating the Tigers by 15 with Charlie Cameron putting on an absolute show for the crowd. 3 goals straight, 11 touches, and yeah, just really engaging that crowd in the game. And afterwards, they were all flowing out into the streets, crowding all the pubs, stuff that you love to see, but we haven't seen in Victoria.
Yeah, it was definitely a good game, but also a player that had an amazing game is Daniel Rich, 1 goal, 20 touches, the heart and soul of that Brisbane Lions team, and his wife giving birth on Sunday. So there's obviously something like that, which also gives you that extra bit of motivation with a new child brought into your life. And but like Joe was saying, the Lions definitely captured those Queensland fans and getting them the right result and booking them a spot in the prelim.
Yep. And with no Tom Lynch this week, Tigers were significantly beaten up forward. They had 29% scoring efficiency, only 5 inside 50 marks. And yeah, obviously, no Lynch. Rewalt got Harris Andrews for most of it. And yeah, that really influenced their scoring ability, which is usually very high. And then because of that, they couldn't end up winning the game. And the Lions winning the thriller, gaining a spot in a prelim, something they couldn't do last year when they went out in straight sets. And the Tigers, they're taking on the Saints next week to keep their season alive.
Yeah. Well, obviously, let's get into the footy stocks part of the segment of the podcast. Sorry.
Yep, so if you're new to the podcast, Footy Stocks is our main segment where we talk about something we like the look of that we want to buy stocks in, something we don't like the look of that we want to sell stocks in, and something that we're not sure of that we want to hold on to. So on that note, Sasha, what are you buying into?
I think the Pies are going to make their third prelim in a row. I think we're a very quality side, and with us beating West Coast, showing how well we can play, that attacking football, that free-flowing football, very much look like that 2018 Pies that we've just come accustomed to seeing. And it was just great to see because everyone had an amazing performance. There was no terrible performers, and the Pies usually have had their number over the Cats in recent times. So it'll definitely be an interesting game. But I'm buying into the Pies making their third prelim in 3 years. Hopefully, I'm right about that one. But what are you looking to buy into, Dry?
Yeah, I'm buying into the Power, possibly making a grand final. I love their hard brand. I think Canecorns came out and said that they were the hardest team in the finals this year, which I agree with. And yeah, that hard brand will stand up in finals, especially when you got a mongrel crowd like the Port Adelaide crowd cheering you on. It'll help them heaps and put them deep into September.
Yeah, definitely. So we're gonna get onto the selling part of it. The doggies let the AFL world down and just completely underperformed. It was just a terrible performance by them. Although they did make a comeback in the fourth quarter and had a great first quarter start, they just kind of got lost and it was just downhill up between the second and third quarter. So they very much let the AFL world down. But Jai, what are you selling?
I'm selling the Cats' hopes of like finals glory. I think they might make that prelim, but I don't see them going anywhere. And they certainly haven't learnt from the finals flops of recent time. That 2018 elimination final against Melbourne, they were slow to get out of the blocks. That obviously last year they lost to Richmond, who were just a better team, except they did lose to Collingwood in the qualifying final, where once again they were slow out of the blocks with us putting on, I think, 5 goals in the first quarter to their 1 or something. And yeah, once again, slow out of the blocks. And it's hurt them again in accuracy as well. So they haven't learnt from finals flops, and I don't see them going anywhere or earning any silverware this year.
Yeah, Daisy Pearce said it during the week. For my hold, I got the Tigers making the granny. They're still a very good team. Daisy Pearce went on the record to say basically, if a team can go win it the hard way, it's the Tigers, which I agree with that. They're a very, very quality side, and Tom Lynch to come back either this week or next week. But you'd be hoping for this week's return if you're a Tigers fan. But what are you holding on to, Jai?
Yeah, a bit like you, I'm holding on to the Tigers. I'm not sure about them making the granny, but if they do want to do anything, they need to make a big point this week against the Saints. Saints have some key players out. They need to really put the foot on their throat and just smash the shit out of them. Win by at least 6 goals for my liking, and just really make a statement and going, well, we're still a quality team. We're not going to go out this easy. Watch out, Port Adelaide in that prelim.
Yeah, speaking of Saints versus Tigers game, I saw a stat this week where it said Brett Ratten has never ever lost a game in his whole career to Damien Hardwick. He's 7-0 against him, and that is a massive factor going into this game, which which will definitely be interesting to watch because finals is a different game, and whatever team turns up to play on the day really, really makes the difference.
Yep. But that's it for Footy Stocks for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you let us know down below, if you have any other ideas, yeah, let us know if you're enjoying it. And yeah, on to the Saints versus Doggies game.
Yeah. What a game this was! Basically, the Saints won it by 3 points in a very, very tight game. Throughout the whole day, uh, Saints kicking 10 goals 7, so the Doggies 9 goals 10, and they just showed how how to play basically, and they came to play. And two players that did come to play was Paddy Ryder and I think it's Rowan Marshall. Is that his name?
Yeah, Rowan Marshall.
Yeah. The ruck door absolutely dominated Tim English as predicted, and they would need to do that with 30-9 hit out wins.
Yeah, like in our preview for this game, we said that if the Saints were to win, they'd need that ruck duo to dominate Tim English and give them the first use out in the middle. They did that, winning, yeah, like you said, clearances 30-9, and that really gave them a real boost, yeah, in the game. And Dogs once again disappointing, their inaccuracy costing them the game. It was a hyped up return to finals this year, same as last, and every year they've let us down. They've been a dangerous team, apparently, a very risky, quick ball moving, exciting team to watch. Except every year they've let us down. Apart from that 2016.
Yeah. Well, the one of the big players that did well, one of the littlest players in the game, probably the smallest, had one of the biggest impacts on the game, if not the biggest for the Dogs, and that was Caleb Daniels, 26 touches and a late goal to give them hope, but it just wasn't enough, which is a bit sad because that you really were expecting more from the Doggies, like Jai was saying. But that sets up the Saints taking on the Tigers, and the Doggies are sent packing home back to Victoria, back to isolate under Dan Andrews' law.
Yeah, buddy, Dan Andrews. But speaking of terrible premiers, Mark McGowan over in WA calling Collingwood the Dirty Pies, the dirty team, needing Eagles quarantine after playing us. All that hype, the quarantine Collingwood had to go through, all of that didn't matter because our Pies won by 1 point. The game of the year, possibly. We'll have to see what happens in the rest of the finals, but mate, that was a good game to watch.
Oh, it was heart pumping. I remember just watching it, seeing just the whole family on the couch. We're all just watching at it, and when Taylor Adams smothered the ball in the middle of the ground, we knew it was over basically. Which thank God for him.
He showed why he was all Australian in that game. 24 touches, a goal, a game-saving smother. Mate, that's what you love to see from your future skipper.
Yeah, definitely. And another player that did step up from a slow first half but a massive second half, Brody Myercheck, 3 goals, lifted against the star backman in McGovern, who's probably dominated the competition as a backman probably the last 10 years. And it was just a major, major performance from Myercheck to step up.
Yep, and you always think of like the Collingwood West Coast, and McGovern's always had Myercheck. In the grand final, he dominated him, obviously a part of that final play, which we don't like to talk about. And of recent time, Myercheck's always lowered his flag almost against Eagles, even though he gives his heart and soul every week. But he turned that around in this last quarter, 2 of his 3 goals, and the last quarter to get us over the line. And the Eagles' inaccuracy practically cost them. They kicked 11-9. They had the same amount of scoring shots as they did in the round 8 win by 11 goals against us. In that game, they scored 111. In this game, they scored 75. 36-point turnaround. The difference of kicking straight is huge. And with their 2 stars, JK and Darling, kicking 6 goals 6, it really
It's
doesn't
not
help.
pretty. No, it's not. And the mid dominance from both teams actually, but more West Coast with them 5 center clearances and five center clearances of 5 goals. For the Eagles highest this year, And with no Grundy spending time at the start of the quarters in the ruck, you could just tell Bucks was going for a more of an approach where Grundy was more of a tagger around the ground where he wanted Darcy Cameron starting it off, which worked out by a bee's agate, and it just worked out for the Pies.
Yeah, but that's all for all of round one of finals. Now we're going to look onto the semi-finals, round two, and we're going to preview the two games: Saints, Tigers, and then Geelong and Collingwood.
All right, Joe. Now let's get into the first game of the previews, and that's the Saints Tigers game on Friday, October 9th at Metricon Stadium at 7:40 p.m. 7:50 p.m. Sorry.
Yeah, for me, I've got the Tigers winning. Obviously, the Saints' injuries, I reckon they're too damaging for them. And yeah, the Tigers are too experienced, and they're just going to come out firing after last week.
Yeah, I've got the same. The Tigers, they're too good with their finals experience, like you were saying, and they will show. That will show. That will show in finals, and the Saints lack the experience compared to the Tigers. And after last week beating an average doggy side, I don't think they can beat an elite team like Richmond.
Yep. And for the Saints to win, they need to keep Lynch, assuming he does play, and Martin quiet. And then they need to replicate what the Lions did and help in order to break the Tigers' rolling defense and just try to break their chaos game because they love the ball movement as like just chaos.
Yeah, for me, the Saints need to keep Cochin and Rewalt quiet as their two other stars. Cochin more than Rewald, I believe. But if you can keep them quiet, they've got a major chance at winning.
Yeah, and for the Tigers, they just need to use last week's loss as motivation and they come out firing and they need to just play the brand that they're known for and that won them 2 flags.
Yeah, if the Tigers, I think what they got to stop is they got to stop that kick down the wing, cut inside, and and push forward for the Saints. If the Tigers can stop that, they'll make that in 100 times. They'll make that game 100 times easier than what it should be, and it'll definitely be a quick one for Saints fans to forget. Sorry.
And for the Saints to win, they need Rowan Marshall to fire. Obviously, Ryder being injured, and the ruck combo that did destroy Nankervis at the start of the year is now relying on Rowan Marshall, so the young man needs to step up.
Yeah, definitely. It'll be interesting to see if they do bring in another tall to replace Ryder, but I'm not sure if they will. For the Saints, I've got Jack Steele needing to step up. He's got to have an amazing performance, 25 plus touches and 2 goals if they want to stand a chance, and just show the capabilities of that Saints team.
Yep, and yeah, Lynch needs to step up. Obviously, if he does return, he needs to come back in hot form to at least help Rewalt fire after last week, Rewalt being completely destroyed, and that will help improve their scoring per inside 50, which was 29%, which was abnormal, like unusually low.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a different player, but Shea Bolton, not a star yet for Richmond, but a very, very good player. I reckon he's got to step up this week. If he's just got to show off his class in that Richmond midfield with possibly a goal and 20 plus touches, that'll make a massive difference for the Tigers to possibly win. But the final verdict for the game, Jai, what do you have?
I have the Tigers winning by 43. I reckon they'll smash them. They're way too experienced and classy for the undermanned Saints, in my opinion.
Yeah, I got the Tigers by 22. The experience will show, and like you said, the Saints being undermanned and wounded, it's not going to be pretty for them. I don't think so.
And on to the semi-final 2, Cats versus Pies. Saturday night, October 10th at the Gabba, 7:40 p.m. In my opinion, I've got the Pies winning. It'll be a very close game and it could go either way, to be honest. But I reckon with the West Coast win would have given us heaps of confidence and it would galvanise the group and brought us together. It'll be exciting because we're playing exciting footy again. But yeah, it'll be close.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. The Pies, I believe the Pies will get the win. The Pies have recently, with their recent track record against the Saints, Cats, sorry, they've beaten them the last 2 times, and the last time they played, Degoe kicking 5 goals and a comfortable win at an Optus Stadium. So it'll definitely be interesting to watch.
Yeah, and for the Pies to win, we need to keep that exciting brand that returned last week, and we need to limit Danger and Hawkins through tags or just outperforming them 1-on-1. And yeah, for the Cats to win, they need to use last week and all the external pressure as fuel to launch them into an aggressive, clean game style.
Yeah, with the Pies, they just got to go off last week's performance against the Eagles, that aggressive attacking footy that won them the game against the Eagles, and many games in 2018. Because if they play like that, they're very, very hard to beat, the Pies. And for the Cats, they need all their big names to step up, from Dangerfield, Selwood, Ablett, Hawkins, all those players, just to have massive games if they want to try to compete, which you want to do during finals time.
Yeah, and for the Pies to win, Grundy needs to step up. Obviously, he was basically demoted from his role as primary ruck, and basically shared that with Cameron last week. He needs to use that as motivation. He needs to expose Stanley, and yeah, redeem himself after last week. Whereas Hawkins, after kicking 0 goals, 5, and 1 out in the full, he needs to step up, and he hasn't really stepped up in a final other than that 2011 grand final where he destroyed Ben Reid in that last quarter. Ever since then, he pretty much drops off in finals, so he needs to turn that around.
Yeah, for me, I got the man most likely going to play on Hawkins. I think Jordan Ruffhead has to step up this week, play a very tight role on Tom Hawkins for the Pies to get the win. Obviously, Tom Hawkins being the Coleman medalist and the player he is, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how they play on him. And for the Cats, the little master Gary Ablett, he's a star, we know, but he's definitely aging, and has he gotten so far into his career where he can't perform at AFL level anymore? That's the question I think that has to be raised around him as a player.
Yeah, and my final verdict, I got the Pies by 11. I reckon the Cats will be too slow and they won't learn from their finals blunders of the last week and the years previous. The Pies, we're growing as a team each week, especially after that West Coast win, really galvanised us. It'll be interesting to see how we go, but I've got us by 11.
Yeah, I got us by 14 points. I think we'll show our class against them, and just that aggressive attacking footy will come out on top against an aging Geelong side that are on their last legs, especially with a lot of their stars. But thanks everyone for tuning in this week. We hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a review and a preview, so something different. The first week of finals was probably one of the best finals in recent memories. We can't wait to see what it holds for us. Also, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, also stream on Spotify and YouTube. Peace in the Middle East. Have a good one.